we have a lot of negativity coming from these misunderstandings in communication, and by people who are not authorized to do so, fighting proxy wars on the internet.
Yeah.
Right? They're typing, they're fighting for Mabuni Kenwa.
Yeah.
They're fighting for Mabuni Kela. They're fighting for Funakoshi Gishin. They're fighting for Shotokan. They're fighting for ESKAA or whatever. And go on for every organization, association, or whatever. So you got a misunderstanding in communication, demographic, misunderstanding, and random bad feelings targeted towards other organizations, micro conflicts, real or not, insecurity, not enough knowledge, and the proxy war. So you got a lot, like almost like 8 or 9 or 10 different levels of where does negativity comes from.
Yeah.
And
so, look, luckily, and I say this a lot, there is no ego or politics in karate.
Is that kind of sarcastic?
Of course, comment? Mate, because it's so funny because in most dojo sprout, we teach you, we help you build your confidence, and karate is about respect and this and that. But from what I have seen, a lot of the top guys that I have seen, a lot of them are bullies. Hi and welcome to Karate Over Coffee. My name is Cheyne McMahon and I'm your host. This is a podcast dedicated to my experiences in karate. I started karate as soon as I could walk. My parents owned a full-time dojo, so I literally grew up in the dojo as our house was on top. I've lived and breathed karate my whole life, and I've trained with some really amazing sensei, competed for my country, and I've learned so much about the evolution and history of karate. And I'm here to share my experiences and learn. Enjoy. And his back is almost on a slight angle, whereas we know now that the posture, the hip chain, your pelvis, that pelvic chain should be straight, not tilted. So if people are going to continue to train like an 80-year-old Okinawan 100 years ago, they're not really understanding or embracing a modern look. So why do you think that would be?
First of all, I think that many people who present themselves as the protectors and saviors of Okinawan karate are most of the time just ego-driven. I'm sorry to say that. We have a lot of Western guys who claim to want to protect it from, falling into oblivion or, things like that. And they they start groups and associations and all that. And all of that is just about ego and having the power, I want to be the chief, I don't care they don't care about karate. They care just about that they are the chief in some kind of hierarchical chain of something. So that's what they're about. And all their activities, all their rhetorics, everything is aimed towards that goal. So the obsession with some original form is often related to some self-importance. It's just self-importance. Right? I think, for example, that's one point. Then
yeah. So you go.
Yeah. Otherwise, it is actually a good practice to think about and to practice changing kata. I for example, I do it too. But what I do is very simple. Most of the time, I just change the ampersand so that it points straight forward all the time.
Is that purely for your TikTok videos, or?
That's just purely for the video.
Yep.
And it's purely a practice for the brain.
Yeah.
Because if you do a kata like 10,000 times, you have the muscle memory will tell you where to run. If people would ask you what comes next, you have to think, and you go like, I don't know. But if you just run, you have use your muscle memory, it works. So if you change it, it's always like, oh, how do I get? Wait a second, how do I do this? Right? So it's quite very difficult. You can try this without preparation. Do it if you do it, try it ad hoc. You do, for example, go to Shiho, and you do every rotation so that you point to the front again. I tried it with Seisan 2 days ago, and I couldn't upload it because it was so bad. Just a complete fail. It was a complete fail, but also funny to change the routes. If you have 90-degree angle to the side, left and right, you make it 45. So everything changes, and it's yeah,
well, that could be another part of people not understanding how kata was created for that very purpose, because maybe the place that your sensei was training was very, very small. So instead of going 90 degrees, he went 45. My sensei said it was 45 degrees, so it's going to be always 45 degrees, even though now I've got all of this extra space and I could do 90 degrees, but I will do 45 because that is how my sensei did it. And his sensei was this sensei and sensei, etc.
It's actually funny, yes. You have a lot of there are a lot of examples of changing kata. First of all, if you think about changing kata, then you would say, why would anybody teach a martial art in a way, in an ambusen, where you go front and then turn around and then go back with your back there, and then you go left and right? And then I would say probably because there were people sitting around it watching, so everybody can have a front look. It's kind of respectful to show it to everybody. But you know, the martial arts community is so that they always look for, no, there has to be a combative application. And so this, right? And this is a movement like which has been on for some decades, and which is steering the martial arts kata into a certain direction.
Look, it honestly, mate, I can't watch another. Somebody sent me a video of somebody doing Pinan Yondan, and like for the bunkai of Pinan Yondan, and you know, they're just creating more and more and more and more and more for moves that have nothing to do with each other. You know, like one move to the next move. Like, no, that's not what kata is for. You know, like creating bunkai or applications or combat, whatever you want to call it, just for every single move in the kata, or every single move plus this, plus that, plus that. You're like, oh my God, it's too much.
Yeah, and it was definitely not the reason. So I would say like this fashion of creating bunkai, consecutive or not consecutive, for everything in the kata is maybe like, let's say like 2 decades, and it's related to the internet, social networks, YouTube, and the possibility to share and to talk about it. And also people get their how can I say,
likes,
inspiration. The inspiration, they take it from what they see in TV and internet and so on. So it's just, they don't admit it to themselves. They see wrestling, they do the wrestling grab with the arm. They see this, you know, and this is a little bit of hypocrisy within that let's say like within this whole field, because the people say they cannot say it's for my sensei because the sensei never told that. The sensei never did that. Many of the Okinawan sensei, they never did that. And then so they're gonna say nothing. Where do you have it from? Well, it's my own idea. Well, probably not. You saw, yeah, but you don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I'm not argue about that. They just have to be like honest about it. they didn't invent anything. They saw something, right, in the millions of fighting videos that they are on the net, and then they said, look, it's Naihanchi.
Yeah.
Right, straight out of Naihanchi. I mean, it's okay, it's great, it's a great kata, it's a good application, but just don't tell people that this is the traditional thing, that you have inherited it via a personal tradition that goes back to Sakugawa or something. It's not true, right? That's not a fact. So that's funny.
Well,
So
is it because everything is straight out of Naihanchi, or?
It is.
If you're listening, I'm wearing one of my cool straight out of Naihanchi shirts.
Where did I get that again?
Oh, well, thanks for asking. You can go to Straight Outta Kata on Facebook, straightouttakata.com on the internet as well. So like your straight outta, oh, now I'll have to send you one now, mate. So Straight Outta Kata, you've got straight out of Naihanchi, straight out of Teki, straight out of Sanshin, straight out of Naihanchi. Well, Naihanchi, I've covered everyone, mate. Because everything is straight out of Naihanchi. Apparently, everything is. If you look deep enough at a kung fu move that somebody did in 1987 when they turned around with the left hand up and the right hand down, it's got to be Naihanchi. All right. Yeah.
There it is.
Anyway, this is a positive episode.
Yes. It is the perspective that you want to have. Mm-hmm. It is also positive. It's positive that people invent all kind of stuff. But I'm with you when I say I cannot see that anymore. I don't want to watch that. I think it's like, you know, I had in the last class last Tuesday or so, there were people from two different schools. Last Tuesday, there was a guy from another school as a guy who was there 1 week earlier. They were doing, one was an Okinawan school, the other was a Japanese school. And they were doing the same application for Finanshola.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I'm thinking about, this is, sometimes it's just, you know, on the net, another this, another that. And then they present it in a way as if they received it in a personal tradition, right? Or if they found it out by a targeted creative process, like brainstorming or something, right? And in fact, they saw a fight and there was an arm position like that, and you can use it. Well, you can use it as a shimiwaza, you can use it as a budokan, and I don't need nobody. I'm doing karate for like 28 years. I've been doing jiu-jitsu from the start for many, many years. So I always had this reference, and there's still people running around claiming the other guys, they don't know the application.
Yeah, well, I reckon it started in the late 80s and the 90s, but those guys in the 90s, they've moved on now, but there's a whole generation that are doing what the guys did in the 90s. I was lucky enough to be a kid and did all of that with my dad, so I don't need to go back and try and recreate 54 moves for out of Goju-Shiho. But I think now, because there are so many videos, there's a new generation of people going back and trying to work out and add and put it up on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or the TikTok, and say, oh, look at this. This could be like, man, we were doing that like 30 years ago. Where are you been? They go, well, they've just started training, so they just started karate, and obviously their sensei didn't understand either.
Actually, that is the point. They are at a stage within their training, which for other people is long gone. They still know that, they don't do it. But to see it positive, you can see the development. The people, they develop, they get better, they study, they understand. But as long as they stay inside their own small school bubble, inside the micro style bubble, where just with just 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever people, they can not grow further because you are stuck within this negativity. Because the negativity is like, as we said before, you know, we are making a difference from the other guys, and we are at that point. You claim to know better than someone else, and then you're wrong.
Yeah.
At the point when you claim you know it better than someone else, you're 100% wrong, because you don't know their motivation for karate. And it's my personal choice what I do with my karate, and it's everybody else's personal choice what they do with karate. It's not anybody's individual authority to tell if it's right or wrong what I decide to do with my karate. If I do it as a gymnastic or an athletics thing, or as a micro sprint of 30 seconds for Fukikata to 1.5 minutes to whatever, like I'm doing several micro sprints over an hour, this is my choice. If I want to look into at it as combative techniques, I'm going to look at it at combative techniques. But I tell you, really, I studied a little bit in Okinawa too, and I'm having little slight problems following the process, but I don't criticize it. Everybody can decide what to do with it. If you want to do bunkai, if you want to do 10,000 bunkai for Nahanchi, good for you. I'm all with that. So I'm positive about it. It's positive for me. Just at that moment, when you go and tell anybody else, look, this is what I do. I'm doing this Nahanchi thing for 20 years now, and I have uploaded like 50,000 films with different applications and how to do it and how I change Nahanchi, and you are wrong, then you're wrong. Because it's not your authority as a karate person to tell other karate people what their content, their technical or philosophical or whatever content of karate has to be. It's not. Right? So, and that is, I think, is a positive. It's very positive.
Yeah.
Right? And it's, I think we can see it like positive. Yes. So what we're trying to do is, whatever happens and whatever pisses us off in karate, we try to turn it into something positive by changing perspective and by making clear what we are trying to do. And like in a in a diplomatic way. You know, I'm not saying a guy, shut up, you're an asshole, but I'm telling him, look, if you change your perspective and you see and accept mine a little bit, and you know, and it's not possible for you to tell me how to see my karate or how karate really is, and you don't know how karate really is. You haven't been there. You just you know, you have a theoretical idea, which from your knowledge, from your experience, and from what you have read, which other people have written, then you develop your own idea, and that's what you do. But don't you dare and tell me to follow that, because that's not what I do. That's your own individual micro idea. And just don't tell me what's right or wrong. I think that's fair, and that's a positive thing to do. And people should do that more often, I think, also online.
Well, look, obviously you're very passionate about it. I reckon you'll be able to change a few people's minds for sure.
Yeah, I think it already happened a little bit, that the way you achieve and the first, like all these micro conflicts, let's be serious about it. You have in 1 or 2 sentences on the internet, you quickly have an assumed micro conflict here and there quickly. Just read it again and maybe ask the person, and once you figure out that it's a problem of communication, then you can deal with it. Then you can fix it. If you but to be honest, I have no interest about discussions on the internet. I like to present information, but I don't want 50, 60 responses in a thread on the internet, because I have a job. I have other things to do. It's nice outside. I want to enjoy my day. Okay, I don't want to. I'm also not a professor. I don't want to talk about that. And also, I don't want to lift myself above anybody else. So I'm talking to anybody on eye level, which means that I have to put a lot of things into it for everybody else. So I'm trying to do what does he mean? What does she mean? What does that mean? And so so I don't have the time for that.
Well, time wise, you've got you've done tons of books, videos, your TikToks, your translations, but somehow you've got time for a next project coming up. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that one?
Oh yeah. Yeah, first of all, the TikTok and all that is, you know, I'm kind of proud that people cannot call me a boomer. Also, I'm not the youngest guy anymore, so I'm using technology that makes me a little, you know, at least a little, that gives a sort of relief, you know, for me, because
I'm not even sure what TikTok is. So I don't know how to do it. So, and I'm a few years younger than you, so good on you. But
so it's actually funny. I don't care about the social media thing, but you can make good videos quite easy with a lot of funny effects, like the aura you have around you. I love it. It's just fucking funny and super easy to do, and that's why I do this, because I enjoy it. I enjoy media. I just don't have to polish it. I just, you know, I like it, you know, some entertaining. As you see, I don't present myself there as a master or something. I'm doing the mishaps. I'm showing it. I'm doing videos after training, after 10 hours of work and 2 hours of training, like completely exhausted. That's what I want to see more. I want to see people more like honest, not this presentation, not this how can I say this Hollywood style. Everything's super fine. I only got 2 gi. I got only 2 dogi. When I lived in Okinawa, I only had 1 dogi. And it was kind of wrecked at the end, as you can imagine. And I never care, but apparently other people, they care a lot about that, you know.
Well, you know what is prevalent now is when somebody puts a video up, whether it's karate or not, they always say, wasn't feeling that great tonight, but here is my version of, here is my kata, or oh, I wasn't really happy with this, but then I upload it.
Yeah, it's rhetorics. It's a rhetoric. It's a preemptive.
Yep.
You know, you make a preemptive argument. It's okay. You know, I can understand that people are a little insecure also with the media. I know older guys who said, "Don't make no photos of me on the internet. Don't bring anything on the internet," because they are they don't know where it goes to. And if you use, for example, AI, if you use artificial intelligence, like I recently did with the stupid short films where you can put your own face.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Of course, probably this is just a you know, this is just financed by some intelligence agency, and soon they will recognize you on every public space through every CCTV camera and all that. But I was thinking, like, dude, you're 55. You're probably you're not the poorest person on the planet. You're probably not being forced into like doing something bad so that that you're that there will be a warrant or search warrant. You're going to be good. The next 10 or 15 years, hopefully, it's all going to be fine. You know. With all the problems in the world, anyway, I'm going to get through it without this information of artificial intelligence probably being used against me. And so they put me in a gulag or whatever. For what reason? right? For what? I cannot see any. I know things can change.
Smuggling coffee back from the Caribbean.
Yeah, for example, yeah, you never know, right? You never know, but why live in fear? Well, I can understand if somebody says, does a decision, I don't want that, it's 100% okay with me. But at the same time, if I do that, I just do that for fun, and it's good. Yeah. So the project, I started the project, where I wanted to document a certain lineage of Komodo kata.
Mm-hmm.
So I started. It was by motivation by a friend. He said, "Why don't you do a Kickstarter about it?" Because I was thinking about it, but it's a lot of time, it's a lot of gear that you need, and planning and all that. I could start it now and do it for free. I do a lot of things just for free, which I don't care. The schools and associations, let's call them dojo, right? People talk about styles. Recently, somebody asked me, what style is that? I said, it's not a style. It's not a style. It's just it's a dojo. It's one chief, one main person who does a business running a dojo. He has to pay rent. He has to pay refrigerators, washing machine, all that. And he's taking students, and the students pay $50 a month. And if you're an international student, you have to get a certificate to run a dojo. And this is just a business. It's a dojo. It's not a style.
Yeah. Right? I hate that. I hate it when people always ask, what style are you? I actually did a podcast on it, an episode on it. But gee, it is so annoying. You're really the style that you are is what the sensei in front of you is teaching. It's McMahon, my surname. Anyway.
Yeah, it's difficult because people use this. They say, "What style are you from?" Insinuating that you are not authentic in what you do. And these are people who have some, who some years ago, probably by mere coincidence, happened to become like what a regional or national or continental representative of some Okinawan, not style, but dojo, who just made himself independent from some huge organization. He started his own dojo. It's not his style what he did. So, and then these guys, they are asking. They build up, like they always do. They build up like more students, bring more students, and every brown belt brings 2 new white belts, and every black belt brings 100 new white belts. And
let me write this down. This sounds good.
Yeah. It's like sort of a snowball system, but they say it's not a snowball system because in some countries, snowball system is illegal. So they don't want to hear that word, but it's basically like that. But what I wanted to say is that these entities, these groups of people of interest, these groups of stakeholders, they communicate within their own bubble. And there is something that happens on the outside, which is very, very limited. Like on the outside, I mean social media. So it's like there's a censoring. And new students, they cannot just share things. In some of these dojo, in some of these martial arts businesses from Okinawa, you have to sign a letter that you will not share the secrets to the outside. So basically, what's basically said is what you ever hear from people from these groups is probably nothing to do with what they actually do, because they're not allowed to show anything, right? They will not answer you honestly. They will not show anything. And I saw that recently a number of times, like 6, 7 star people of one of these Okinawan martial arts businesses. They were showing techniques online, and it has nothing to do with what they actually do. So I wonder, what are they doing there? It's making me a little angry then, but this is all a part of the where negativity comes in, where we talked about before, which is the targeted negativity, which is like a part of all that we as a group are fighting everyone else, but we are not saying that we're fighting. We're ghosting people and other organizations. We're putting false information up, and all that's all part of this method of that. So, and I put information because I'm independent. I put it up freely. So for example, I have put up some description of a bokata, just written description of the what techniques are in there, what is known about the history and all that. So I wrote about sushi, Sakugawa, Yonegawa, Shirotaro no Kun, and in personal messages, sometimes some of the higher ranked people, they write to me, yeah, maybe it's true, and then they come out with, yeah, some sensei told me this and that about, you never heard about that. They never talked about that before. No, now they come up and in a PM, not openly, tell me, yeah, I heard something similar and what all that. They will never share that because they think it is a trading good. These are trading goods for them. Every piece of information is a trading good. You have to give something to them, a lot more than it's worth. So I wrote about Seisoko no Kun, about Soeishi, and and they are not there. The experts, they are not there because they have nothing to say, because they don't know anything about it, right? Somebody they talking about Yaka no Sai. None of them knew anything about what is Yaka. So when I wrote about it, I know they read it all but they are not able to put out such an information. So they tend to ghost me or tend to attack me.
Yeah.
How can I turn this into positivity now? It's a little difficult. But
make some money.
I see the positivity in it is like, I started very small, but I continued. So it's a continued process. And in the beginning, probably they were thinking like, let him do this. Let's talk bad of him behind his back, and so nobody will listen. That's what they do. It's a fact. They are like goose. That's how they are. It's really, really horrible. I tell you, don't go to Okinawa if you don't like politics.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to Karate Over Coffee. And if you're enjoying the podcast and getting something out of the episodes, there are a few things you can do to help us. If you don't already subscribe to us on YouTube, please do so. We release these episodes every Friday morning, Australian time. Plus, we release some smaller espresso shots during the week on both our YouTube channel and our Facebook community group. You can also subscribe to us on our Apple or Spotify. Leaving a 5-star review will be very beneficial as well. If you have any suggestions or topics or feedback or anything that you want to talk about, please put it in our comment section on our Karate Over Coffee community Facebook group. If you'd like to support us, please visit our online shop where we have official Karate Over Coffee shirts, hoodies and mugs available. Your continued support is appreciated and a vital way for the podcast to keep moving forward. Thanks, guys.